Hello, everybody. Welcome to the PanelCast, episode 251, and this is the news. Today in the world, we all realize that we're getting old and it sucks, and I Want Adamantium and Captain America, The Brave New World was really not what I was expecting. So, Justin for sports. Justin, go.
Sports. I watched no sports. I did read some reviews that the halftime show was hated by a lot of white people and a lot of other people didn't mind it. That's my conclusion in sports.
Awesome. Local news. Joey, go.
In local news, all of the roads in Los Angeles have collapsed all simultaneously. There are potholes approximately every 10 feet. I can confirm that this is actually true and not just in fake news. I don't know what we're going to do. We can't drive on the roads anymore.
Well, that went from cheering me up to sadness. So thanks a lot, Joey. There you go. And that, everybody, was the Forbidden Panel Newscast. Thank you. And scene. See, I told the guys we were going to do a skit when we started, but, I guess it didn't play out well. Anyway, welcome.
Well, you asked me about sports, man.
And, to be fair, AJ, if you ask me really what's local news, I live in Los Angeles. It's not cheerful news. Everything I say is going to probably test you.
Nothing got racist. You see that?
I didn't. A bunch of people online did, but
there you go.
There you go.
I did indeed get to go see Captain America: Brave New World.
And yeah, what was your opinion? Because I was supposed to go see this weekend and I failed.
I didn't care.
Yeah,
it's the worst part. Then
that's kind of the impression I've been getting.
I mean, it's not bad, but the problem is that everything was filmed on set pieces, and you tell it felt like everything was a diorama.
Yeah.
Each scene was set in a diorama as opposed to being live in person. Actual.
From what I heard is like it looks like it was all just a bunch of scenes just stitched together.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah.
Everything was overstaged.
Yeah.
Everywhere they were at was overstaged. It was just too much. And everybody had a speech. Every single person there had to give like the biggest speech of their lives every time they spoke.
Well, it's because they had to remind you what happened in a movie from like 20-something years ago.
They were just trying to
remember that Hulk movie? Well, here's what happened.
Which they tried because they were trying to bring back the Liv Tyler aspect. And
wasn't that a Hulk movie from a different attempt at the Hulk thing? It wasn't.
No, that one is technically MCU, the one with Edward Norton.
Oh, okay, okay.
Because Robert Downey Jr.'s in it. Thunderbolt Ross is in it. Yeah.
Okay.
They just switched out Edward Norton.
And then paid Liv Tyler for 10 minutes of her time.
Yeah.
Right.
And,
so anyway, that's my review of Captain America: Brave New World. I mean,
I listened to a review. I listened to a review of it, and they said that it looked like they were trying to get. They had Harrison Ford for 4 days, and he had to be home at 4 every day.
I would say that was true.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't bad. You have to watch it to continue the story.
Yeah. I will for sure watch it when it's streaming. I mean, 100%. But
if you haven't watched any of the other ones, you're going to be a little lost. Like my wife didn't watch The Elementals, so she was lost.
Or Eternals.
The Eternals.
Eternals. Sorry, the Eternals. Yeah. And so she was lost after in the movie.
Yeah.
I especially if you haven't seen Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. It's a heavy homework one, dude. You need to see the Hulk, you need to see the Eternals, you need to see the
Falcon and Winter
Soldier. You probably need to see, all the Captain Americas, I imagine. But because they got the whole Isaiah Bradley thing in there. So if you didn't watch the TV show, you don't know what's going on with that. Yeah.
And then be familiar with the multiverse.
Right.
For the end credit scene.
Oh Jesus!
Oh God!
So, and
remember when they just used to do end credits of the next movie?
The horrible makeup job they did on the leader. Oh my God!
Oh yeah, I looked bad.
It looks it looks like they took the stuff you spray on your ceiling,
stucco, or
that popcorn stuff.
Made it on his head and painted it green.
Yeah,
and that's what you got.
Like that foam insulation that you spray.
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally, that's what it looked like. That. Right.
They just made it look like
the brain was coming out of one side. Yeah.
No, both, all of it.
Oh, it looked like it was just like on one side to me, but I just
it's all of it.
Okay.
And it's just enlarged a little bit. That's it. And it was horrible.
Yeah.
Terrible.
And they destroyed. I'm sorry. At some point in all of Marveldom, we all know that it's created. It happened. It's called damage control. But at some point, there has to be a common sense law that says when the Hulk shows up, regardless of what color he is, if he shows up in public in a crowded area, do not engage.
You think it would be common sense by now, right?
Right.
Do not engage. A, bullets don't hurt. They bounce off him and they're going to strike an innocent. B, all you're going to do is cause so much collateral damage. It's going to be, what are you doing?
And then C, just make him matter because that's what he does.
Because you're hurting more than you are. And C, what are you going to do? It's the Hulk.
Yeah, as long as you don't mess with him, he'll probably leave.
Right. Like in the real world. Like in the real world, Captain America is doing PSA announcements about it that just show on TV. Remember, if you see a Hulk, do not engage. It's going to be like in Spider-Man. He sits down and is like, so you saw a Hulk.
Right. Like in Independence Day, Los Angelitos, don't shoot at the aliens.
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of the things I was like when we were watching like season 2 of Power Man. It's like, why are they still shooting him? They all know bullets. I mean, if nothing else, just save your money, dude.
Same with all the Supermans, and everything. Like, stop. Just don't engage.
It's like at the beginning, at the beginning, okay, whatever. But by the second season of Power Man and like, however many movies the Hulk has been in, it's like bullets don't hurt him.
The dude punched the Chitauri ship down. You think a measly 9mm bullet.
Right.
If you put enough of them in them.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
that's our review. Tony Stark had to build a mech just to have a chance against him. I mean.
Right. And none of the weapons worked on it.
And your M16s are going to do what?
Right. Tony Stark launched rockets at him.
Right. Anyway, like I said, I'll for sure watch it when it's streaming, but I'm excited about Thunderbolts, but I think that looks awesome.
This movie made the Thunderbolts more.
I know how you feel, Joey, but
yeah. All right, let's go to the meat of what we were talking about. What this whole show has been advertised for, what we're all excited for, what we have to blame Justin for, because this is all Justin's fault. The MIGNOLAVERSE. Last week or 2 weeks ago, we had our streaming event for Valentine's Day, and where Joey professed his undying love for me after all these decades and drew me a heart.
It's true.
And after this was over, Justin spent the night with me, holding me and cuddling me and just caressing me and letting me know everything was going to be okay. And during that time, we watched the Mike Mignola documentary. Justin, why don't you tell us about it?
Okay. Well, it's called Drawing Monsters, I believe. It's on Prime with commercials, which is not great. I would love to have a physical copy of it, so I need to look to see if they actually. I know there was a fundraiser for it, but I don't know if they ever did. Anyway, no, it basically covers Mike's early days when he got into comics and he was just inking, and up all through his Marvel and DC days, and then obviously the whole meat of it is about Hellboy. They talked to a lot of really cool people. Arthur Adams, Joey, it was awesome.
That was great.
They lived together for a while. One of my favorite parts is when Arthur Adams is talking about how like when they're drawing, and he was always adding lines, and Mike was always taking lines away because their art is diametrically opposed.
Thinking about them side by side, it's just primal energy for me. Like I can't even comprehend.
Those two end up living together.
Well, Joey?
What's that?
Did you watch the documentary as well?
I totally did. Yeah.
Awesome.
I've watched it twice now. It's like on regular rotation for me.
Yeah, I really stuck.
But they talked. Obviously they talked to Guillermo del Toro. They talked to Mark Richardson, the head of Dark Horse, I believe.
Mike Richardson.
Mike Richardson, yes. Talked to Mike Richardson, head of Dark Horse. Another great part was when Mignola came in and gave him the basic rundown of Hellboy, and Mike Richardson's telling this story, and he says, Mike brought me this thing. He said, I've got this monster. I want to do a book about him. And just based on that, I said, let's do it. And then it cuts to Mignola, and he's like, and then he said, let's go for it. Who the fuck says that? So that was pretty hilarious. They had the exact same story when, even when they weren't there together. But that was great. Showed all, obviously showed lots of his artwork. They had him sketching while they were interviewing him. So that was cool. They talked about the movies. They talked to Ron Perlman. It was pretty great. Talked to his wife a lot and his brothers. It was cool listening to his brothers tell about like their early life and how
and their stories and the comic strips that they were working on and stuff.
Yeah. And it was very entertaining. What's that?
And was it Fuzzball? The
Fuzzball or Fuzzy Ball?
Fizzball or something.
Yeah.
But hitting the beer cans with a stick.
Beer, but man, it's fun.
It was really good. It was really entertaining and very thorough, and I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Yeah, I agree. It was great, and it was good to see Mignola look. You gave him a face. You get to see him talking and stuff. Yeah. We got in deep. He seemed like a nice guy, which was cool.
Yeah. He seemed like
I've had the opportunity to interview him a few times on the PanelCast, actually, and I'll highlight those interviews when I post the episode. But he's a really nice guy, really cool guy. Every time I've met him, seeing him in the documentary was really cool because it felt humbling to see him like that. A lot of times when you see like the Marvel or DC guys in their backgrounds or anything, it feels a little bit intimidating hearing their backgrounds and how far back and how long they've been working on these characters. And then here's Mignola and he's like, look, I just wanted to draw monsters. I wasn't going to draw like you guys were going to. I tried working for DC back in the day. It just didn't take. I tried doing this. It didn't take. I just wanted to do my thing. And his art style is so different and so far from what we were used to back in that time, that the fact that he was given that opportunity was more inspirational than it was anything else.
I mean, at the time it was too. At the time, it was hugely inspirational. A time for me to see him striking such a different kind of artwork from everybody else.
It was completely.
And I remember him trying, doing the superheroes, and I remember loving it. I remember my friends in middle school and stuff at the time, they hated it. They hated his artwork, and I just, I loved him every minute of it. And it was great to see him find his niche.
Flawed.
What's that?
He made heroes look flawed. Those heroes and those villains, they weren't those big buff architectural archetype guys, you know what I mean? Like, his
there was
heroes were just odd.
Well, yeah, but he also didn't draw them, bulking out. Their muscles weren't bulking, and it was often it was more iconic looking, more design.
That's what I mean. It's just totally different.
Really different kind of vibe.
And just the way, and that was right around the time that Sin City was coming out, and just all the heavy blacks and everything, and then and they talk about it in the documentary, but when he did that Legends of the Dark Knight book, and not only was his style so different, but his subject matter was just like right up my alley. Like the way he does cemeteries and the way he does shadows and buildings, and I was just, everything looked so gothic, and I was just like, okay. And then well, I'm sure we'll talk about that later, but I don't want to get into it because I think someone's going to talk about it. But yeah.
Well, no, we're having the general conversation.
I'll bring it up later, but there's a certain cover that I was that was the first time I noticed. I'll just show it now. The first time that made me go, "Who is this?" And is this Punisher number 6?
Mm-hmm.
And I saw that, and I was just like, "Who the heck is this guy?" And like I had never seen like silhouettes in the foreground before. The way his legs just disappear in the smoke, and just the whole design of it. The smoke going up the middle and the Punisher. Oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
I saw that and I was like, who's Mike Mignola?
Solid black right in the middle.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. The solid black and then the highlights on his shoulders and stuff. And just look at all that black on the gun.
Yeah. And all that is really a faux pas back in that day, those days.
Right.
Because highly detailed art was really sought after.
Exactly.
And here he comes using heavy shadows and dark lines. And you notice none of his people stand straight up.
Yeah.
His characters do not stand.
Are always in motion, dude. Always.
Always broken. Always. They look like I walk now. And
they're like always in motion, or they look like they're about to be in motion. It's like the minute before.
Or they look like they just woke up at 60. Okay. Like one of the two, like it, they look real, is what I'm saying. And haunting.
And that Punisher was 87. So like you're saying, this was right about the time where Jim Lee was coming in. I mean, Mark Silvestri and Arthur Adams were already there. So it was all about detail and line work. And so this was like a huge diversion from that. And I saw that cover and I was just like, who's Mike Mignola? And I just started looking for his stuff. And he did some Hulk stuff I found. And I mean, it's just really, really great.
Well, you seem to have some stuff for show and tell. Let's see what you got.
I do. Well, this, like I said, that Punisher book was the thing that made me seek out Mignola, really got me into Mignola in the first place. Another big one is I didn't have it with me because I think someone said they're going to talk about it, but was Gotham by Gaslight. I mean, it's like Batman set in like, Jack the Ripper era. Okay, yeah, I'm in, 100%.
That's one of my favorites also.
Yeah, 100%. It's so good. And then it was really good. And DC's really good about having hints of like the original artists, like in their animation when they do a specific story like that. So there was hints of Mignola in it. It wasn't quite as good as like, the Amazing Screw-On Head where it just looked like an animated Mignola book. But they did try to get hints of his style in it. So, but yeah, I thought the animated movie was really good. But DC does really good animated movies.
Yeah.
But
yeah, they do.
For the most part. Let's not bring up Crisis on Infinite Earths again.
That's right.
But another favorite of mine is The Wolves of St. August, and I have it in the second volume of the library edition. The library editions are great. They're cloth covered.
That's amazing.
Yeah, they're really good. But The Wolves of St. August, it came out in it was originally a serialized in Dark Horse Presents. And
that's right. I remember that.
Yeah, late 80s, 88 to 91, I think. Yeah. And but yeah, it's great. It's a werewolf story, so I automatically had my attention there. And then find the most iconic picture in the world for me anyway. But I mean, it's just great stuff. I mean,
yeah,
it's just fabulous. And but yeah, I read this, and because again at the time Dark Horse was a big hit for me, so I was already a big fan. And yeah, just great stuff like that.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah, his fight scenes are so good.
Yeah, so much good monster fighting.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, that's probably my favorite Hellboy story. I mean, they're all, obviously they're all good.
Yeah.
But that's one of my favorite. But yeah, when Hellboy came out, I was just like, I was blown away. I mean, it's like just all he did was draw the fun stuff. And so, it showed, because the books are just so much fun.
Why don't you stand up and show us your shirt?
Oh, yeah. It's the Mignola Avengers. Kind of hard to see if I'm showing it off. Loki's up there, right there. Then there's a little wasp and Ant-Man down there. So yeah,
I like the whole style.
Yeah, Hulk looks great because
very, very old school. Like,
yeah, just drew him like a monster, like Herbie originally did. Yeah,
just a brute, which he's really good at drawing.
Got that flat Frankenstein head going.
Yeah, and I really like when they do like the bottom half of his face is like elongated and like you know, and a low mouth. You know, it's just like all just huge bottom of the skull. Yeah,
yeah, that big jaw that sticks out. You know, yeah, so good.
Yeah, yeah. So those are, you know, my two big Mignola moments was that Punisher book and then the Wolves of St. August.
Now that's just artistic that you've been talking about, but he's also a writer and creator with all this stuff.
Right, and that's another crazy thing is when he first did Hellboy, he didn't think he could write, so he wrote the story and then asked John Byrne to write the script, and John Byrne was like, "You don't need me to write the script." He's like, "It's all right there, you know." And but he did, but that was the only time that someone else like wrote for Hellboy in that whole period. And after that, he wrote everything himself. No, he's a great writer. And if you see the documentary, he's like a voracious reader. He has an insane book collection, and it makes sense because so much of his stuff is based on folk tales and stuff, and he just has all those books about ghost stories and hauntings and
lots
mythology
and tomes.
Yeah, he's I mean, and I've talked to him several times at conventions and stuff. He's always been a super cool, down to earth guy. Loves talking about all that stuff, and yeah,
the way he talks about the writing interacting with his drawing, and it kind of one sort of supports the other, and the lack of the you know, sometimes it's amazing to hear about, you know.
Right.
Which was funny because we had just come off of doing a show where we were talking about how sometimes being an artist and a writer at the same time can get in the way of your progress. Sometimes it doesn't, or it's hard to promote being both, you know, and or get a job being both. And here he did, and he's killing it with his own universe at this point, you know.
Right.
It's just awesome.
There's a choice of both writer and artist because it kind of mixes in your head weirdly, you know.
Yeah.
And you can sort of look at it and like, and it's all you, and it's kind of a regurgitation of whatever, but something about that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard because when you're doing one, it will affect the other. Like if you're like writing a story and you're like, okay, that'll be really cool if that happens, and then you're like, but do I want to draw that? You know, and so you kind of mess with yourself because you have control over everything, and so you're second guessing yourself a lot too. So yeah, the whole writer artist thing, it's hard to do, but it's hard to do well.
It's incredibly hard to do well.
There are lots of people there are lots of people that try that don't do it so well, but
Mignola was one of those people, you know, and he was one of those people. He wasn't, he came after the indie boom artists,
right?
But he was still one of those people, you know, in the pre-image era.
He was in that same generation. He just wasn't part of that, like
But he didn't need that. He didn't even need to be part of image, you know. He just was on his own, which is cool. It was always him.
Yeah.
Is that all you got for show and tell, Justin?
Yeah, that's what I brought.
Awesome. I unfortunately, when Mignola came out, I wasn't heavy into reading at the time. I think I was homeless and a whole bunch of other crap was going on. But it wasn't until I moved in with Joey, and Joey and I were living together, that he exposed me to a lot of different wonderful things. One of which being Hellboy. The other being Preacher and Garth Ennis. So thanks a lot, Joey.
Yeah.
Hey, they were both
good
really
time.
good.
It was a good time for comics.
It was a great time for comics.
And it was at that point that I started getting into it and appreciating his art style and appreciating all the things that went behind it. And once my life became stable and I was able to start collecting and introducing, I did my best trying to pass along to my kids and my family and all my friends and stuff. And so I've had this for a while. This is the first one. I picked this up when the first movie was picking up. was coming out, Seeds of Destruction. I read through it. Most of the time when I buy books now, when I buy books like this for my library, they're not really for me to read, because when I go and travel and do things and go reading, I take my tablet just because of lightweight stuff. But I buy these for other people to come over and learn about them, so that when I have people that I know, like if you guys had known about them, I'd be like, hey, I've got it, take it, go read it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that's just how I am.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I realized we were doing this, I went to go look for some more books. I found the Hellboy Omnibus Collection.
Oh, nice.
Glorious.
4 big books on sale on Amazon. I got them a total of $30 for all of them. I think they're
Very
like
cool.
50 regularly. These things are just huge.
Nice.
I am working out just picking these up.
Yeah, those are little phone books, huh?
Yeah.
That's nice though. The art will be nice and big.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's sweet. I gotta give you that.
Cool.
Yeah,
Like,
the slipcase is great.
Yeah. The print looks really good. And I bet it looks good in the books too. Yeah, gonna have to get it.
Going in the cart.
right now.
Yeah.
It's like I have my cart full, and every time I get a gift card for anything, I just take chunks out of it here and there.
But there was something else. I've thoroughly enjoyed the movies, and I even love the David Harbour film. I didn't like the newest one that came out, but I just couldn't get behind that Hellboy. I didn't like his voice and his attitude for some reason. He didn't carry that demeanor I got used to with Perlman and Harbour. The big looming dumbass monster, type thing. But I love Mignola's creation, and I love all this. Love the scary stories and all the lore and all the research he does into it. It was one of the things that attracted me to Ennis back in the day. Not Ennis, I'm sorry. Now I lost it. Thanks. Who did V for Vendetta?
Alan Moore.
Alan Moore and Alan Davis, was that? No.
No. I don't remember who the artist was on
Well,
V.
I was talking more about the Jack the Ripper story that he had done.
Oh, yeah.
Hell.
Oh,
yeah.
From Hell.
Yeah. When I was reading From Hell, and I saw like the book was like this thick of From Hell, the collection. This much of it was the story. The other half of it was just the bibliography of all the research and work and stuff that he had done, just the stories he had written, all this other stuff that he was just going into,
Some of that was
including
too. So there's a whole lot.
I know. But I'm saying what he attached to it, and it wasn't even. There's barely any art in it. It's just, it looked like research papers to it. It was glorious, and I just got into started respecting that kind of style more. And that's what Mignola would remind me of, especially when I saw the documentary and all those lore books and all the stuff he has up there. And I was like, okay, that's awesome. That's somebody that has reference books. As a writer, I respect.
Yeah.
You guys, I see Justin showing up to all these drawing events with reference books for art and animals and all these things. And I would love to have a library of reference books for different stories and tales and all that stuff, so I can incorporate into more of our stories that we work on. You know what I mean? It was really cool to see in that. But also, I also wanted to share something else that I've been doing that I love about Mike Mignola. Once this came out, I hopped on this right away, and Joey is now gone, so he doesn't get to feed anymore. There he is.
It's been skipping over me. I don't know. It's weird.
Justin, I don't think you've seen this yet, but you'll be able to enjoy this as well. I'm going to go through like a couple of minutes of, the Hellboy Web of Word video game.
Oh. I didn't even know that was a thing.
Oh, well, now you know. And so, you're going to watch me play it.
I see.
Yeah, I haven't seen the new movie yet.
Me either. I skipped it so far. I mean, I'm not against watching it. I just haven't.
No, I'll definitely watch it. But I've liked all the movies, but none of them have been as good as they could have been, I think.
As you can see, the art style is.
Yeah, it looks rad.
I thought Del Toro's Hellboys were pretty good, pretty damn good.
Yeah, they were. They were very good. I like them a lot. The romance love triangle thing really, really irks me. They waste so much time on that when they could have been doing way more Hellboy stuff.
Yeah.
They waste, I mean, that's got to be like 20 minutes total, like, of the movie where she's dealing with that stupid love triangle, and it's really, really dumb. But other than that, they were great. The villains were all perfect. Hellboy was, I mean, Ron Perlman's a great Hellboy.
He was great. He was great Hellboy.
It's just there could have been so much more Hellboy stuff if they just would have cut that crap out. It's so weird. There was so much of it. But it was like a full like secondary plot line. You know? But this looks great.
Yeah. They're all cell shaded. I like that.
Yeah, it just looks like a moving comic book, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, those shadows from overhead are awesome. Yeah, that looks really cool. Yeah, all the design is just Mignola. It looks awesome. I mean, look at that big machine apparatus in the back.
I wonder if he did the art for this, or did they just, I mean, he had to give his blessing, but crib it.
Yeah. I don't know if they just had people like imitating him or something.
Right.
But
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah. It looks really good.
He did some of the art. I'm not sure if he did all of it.
Yeah.
Probably did key art.
Probably did like character design, like, designed all of it.
Yeah.
And see, and I wish the BPRD in both movies would have been more like this instead of super high tech. Like, I like all this like steampunky diesel punk looking stuff more than like the James Bond, super spy headquarters,
Yeah. Not everything has to be James Bond.
Yeah, it cut out a lot of the cool atmosphere, which is all the, a lot of what I like about the books.
Well, and they were just sort of soldiers with a few scientists.
Yeah.
Really, until later on, they were really kind of out of their depth, except for Hellboy.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't want to sit here and just complain about the movie because it was great. Abe Sapien was great. Hellboy was great. I mean, like I said, all the villains were awesome. I thought they did a really good job with all of them. I liked all the villains, all their ceremony, all the bad guy ceremonies and stuff, and the blood running through the grooves in the floor to open up that temple. And yeah,
and
a lot of
the Clockwork Assassin was good.
Yep.
Yeah.
It was, 100% different than the book, but I liked the way he looked. I liked the whole idea of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was like 90% a great Hellboy movie. I just have that one little thing that bugs me to no end.
What are you even doing? He's
this is
the basics again.
Yeah, the exposition phase.
It's sad that the voice actor passed away.
I can't hear the audio, so
yeah. I was assuming there was none. I thought it was all just reading.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't hear the audio? I'm sorry.
No.
I thought it would pass over with you guys.
No.
Oh well.
I mean, that's fine. It'd be hard to talk.
The voice is done by the guy that passed away that was doing that voice in Destiny and Destiny 2.
Oh, the guy from The Wire.
Yeah.
Not from Wire. He was in.
No, he was
Frank,
in The Wire. He was in.
Frank,
No, he was in The Wire, and he was also in
Fringe.
John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was Karen in John Wick.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Yeah, Lance.
Yeah, Lance Reddick. That's it.
There you
Yeah, that guy's cool.
Yeah, he does the voice for Hellboy in this.
Oh yeah, I would like to hear that. I bet he does a good job.
He does, and I don't know why it's not sharing the audio, but I can hear it on my end, so that's all that matters.
Oh,
I see.
I don't want to get too into this because it's going to bog me down, and it's at the beginning. But I just wanted to show you guys some of the artistic design behind it.
It looks amazing.
And
I'd love to do some animated movies that look like that.
Right?
Yeah.
They should.
They really should.
Animated one. I wonder why they haven't.
They could do like an hour, a few like hour and 15-minute movies, and
they really should. I mean, I'm sure they will at some point. I'm sure someone's trying to do it.
And there you have it, guys.
No, that's cool.
The Web of Word is available on PlayStation 5 in the store. I don't know anything else about that.
When did it come out?
It came out, I think it was like 3 years ago.
3
or 4 years ago.
I didn't even hear about it. I mean, I don't play video games really, so that's not surprising. I didn't hear about it, but I know a few people that do play video games. I know a few people that like Hellboy, so I thought I would have heard about it somehow. But like as far as movies go, like Amazing Screw-On Head is great.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah, it looks just like the book. Yeah, great voice actors. Molly Shannon's in it, which makes me happy. No, that was really great. I was hoping there's going to be more stuff like that coming down, but
didn't get picked up though. Yeah.
Yeah, after that came out, I was like, yes, bring it. Just start at Seed of Destruction and go.
Yeah. Well, Joey wanted to talk about some of his stuff. You got to read some things.
Well, yeah. So we're talking about Mignola. My start was back in. I don't know which one came first. It was either the books I'm about to show or Rocket Raccoon. I think it was Rocket Raccoon, and then I found this.
Oh yeah.
I knew about Lankmar, the Fritz Lieber books, Swords Against, because of D&D.
Exactly.
And so I found this, and so when this came out, this is by Howard Chaykin wrote this, and Mignola did the art on this. This was so. It struck me so hard because I'm
Joey's cutting out.
Huh?
Just I've been, forever since I was a.
Well, and it seems like we're losing Joey, unfortunately.
Oh God! Right in the middle of my speech.
I know.
Yeah. That's what Joey gets for being so quiet all the time. The one time he speaks, he gets cut out.
Yeah. Anyway, this was a very cornerstone thing to see such a moody piece of fantasy art.
Yeah.
And again, it was non-superhero. This was like the perfect thing. These little graphic novels. I got them still. I've been carrying them with me since junior high. I hope this way. These are like gold to me, like I don't know. And then the Hellboy. And that was amazing too, but we already talked about Hellboy. But I wanted to bring up those books because I feel like they've been forgotten. There's a lot of early Mignola work that was kind of forgotten.
Yeah.
And man, if you're a fan of fantasy, especially dark fantasy, it's so good.
Yep. Yeah, I have the trade of that Fafford and Gray Mauser stuff. I guess it was like the early aughts, they did a reprint of all the books in hardcover, and they all had Mignola covers. And my roommate picked them all up. They were like super limited and stuff, but there was like 6 of them, I think. But he got all 6, and yeah, he did all the covers for him and everything.
Man,
they're great. Yeah, I recently started Oh yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Don't mind me. Keep talking. I'm just showing them.
Oh yeah. I recently started listening to Fafhrd and Grey Mouser on Audible. So, and I got a couple of guys in my D&D group into it that they're younger and they hadn't they hadn't read Fafhrd Grey Mouser or Elric or anything. So I got them
into like that 70s fantasy is so sweet.
It's so different.
It's very, yeah. I mean, yeah, it's very different. Some of their behavior is questionable, but
right.
That's what's funny about fantasy is because each time you go through a genre of fantasy, like whatever decade you're in, you can see the influence of that decade happening into that fantasy. As more, whether it be history is revealed or more technology becomes available, or fantasy becomes, your mind just becomes more open to it.
Right.
The influences become more and more apparent on our past stories,
Right. Well, yeah, when you look at Fafhrd, Grey Mouser and Elric are coming out, and then, in the 60s and 70s and stuff, and then, right at the early 80s, like fantasy movies went from, well, there wasn't a whole lot of fantasy, but like the old Robin Hood movies and all the adventure movies, and then like in the 80s you get here's Excalibur, which is way more like
that changed it,
yeah, which is way more like these 70s books. It's real more like raw and aggressive and
Beastmaster or
and then after that was Conan,
Sword and the Sorcerer.
Conan was a throwback though, because Conan had come before these books had come before, and they'd influenced Lieber and all these guys,
like Sword and the Sorcerer.
I have a Hellboy tattoo, in case you were wondering.
The guy that drew that's a hack.
Yeah, I know. I can't stand his art. I don't know why I keep getting it all over me.
But Sword and the Sorcerer was very much along those lines.
I wanted a three-bladed sword that launched at blood demons. Like, what's going on?
So bad. There's a bunch of them. Mystery Science Theater and the Rift Tracks.
Yeah.
They've gone through a bunch of those movies.
Yeah.
They're so they're good.
In the beginning, when they're first raising in Sword and the Sorcerer, when they're first raising the demon sorcerer, and he had that coffin and all the heads came to life and were talking. And man, when I was a kid, I thought that was the scariest fucking thing I'd ever seen in my life. It's so cool and such a good practical effect, man. It's awesome.
80s.
That kind of brings me back. I was gonna ask you guys. I know it's off topic, and I'm sorry for that, but what's the first horror movie you saw?
I mean, technically, mine was Frankenstein, but like as far as modern horror, my first one was My Bloody Valentine, like the original.
I'm trying to think. Because by 81, when like American Werewolf in London, and I saw The Thing and American Werewolf in London in the theater, but those were the first horror movies that I saw. My dad had already exposed me at some level to other stuff by then. I don't know, but those are the first couple that I remember seeing because they were so important, and we saw them a couple times in the drive-in.
Yeah, that's some good stuff. See that in the theater.
But I was already like 6 or 7 by then, and I had to have seen others because just watching TV with my dad, but I don't know.
Yeah, like I said, my first stuff was all like the Universal stuff. I watched those all the time.
I mean, like aside from that, like my first, because I was trying to think back, like really think back, and I think mine was Laser Blast.
Oh yeah.
Either like Laser Blast or The Car. Like it had to be one of those two, or because I back then the memories are a little jumbled, so it's either the original Invasion of the Body Snatchers or The Hand.
Yeah,
that was always on cable.
Yep, I've seen that with Michael Caine.
Yeah.
And Dressed to Kill. Those two were like very heavy rotation in the 70s.
80s, early 80s, very, very, very early 80s, like turn of the 80s.
Yeah.
Well, then it had to have been because The Car came out in 77.
Yeah.
So did Laser Blast, and that's when I saw them. Remember in the drive-through drive-in theater in Victorville.
Yeah. Laser Blast. They showed Laser Blast before every single sci-fi movie. It was always the leader in the double feature. Like I've seen Laser Blast so many times just because it was always the first movie in every double feature. I saw it before Star Wars. I saw it before Buck Rogers. I saw it before everything. Yeah.
It's a perfect cheesy drive-in movie, man. It's great.
Yeah. They finally, a few years ago, they finally did our Mystery Science Theater, and it was really good.
Yeah.
I was really excited. Yeah.
Well, I think that's about wraps us all up. I think we all agree that Mignola sucks, and we can't stand any of his stuff.
Again, total hack.
Total hack.
Total hack. I mean, I don't even know how he got famous. We're way better than he ever was.
Jeez. Blasphemy.
He's such a jerk.
Blasphemy coming from your mouth is hurting.
I know. I don't even feel right joking around about it.
Yeah.
I know. Now my body hurts more.
No, he's great. He's a great guy. His art is like, I mean, there's not very many people you can say, I mean, that he's that much one of a kind. He's like 100%. He's got a million imitators, but you can always tell it's like not quite Mignola.
Mm-hmm.
And but then and then there's so many great artists that I like that he influenced.
Mignola-ish.
Yes. I mean, there's so many great artists that I like that he influenced, and but anyway, he was part of of my favorite generation of comic artists. I mean, him and Arthur Adams and Frank Miller and
Darwin Cook.
Darwin Cook. They're all there at the same time, and it just it's my favorite part of comics history for sure.
Yeah, he's a foundational influence on me.
Yeah,
my taste of things,
whether he meant to be or not, and that's what is great about him, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, when you look at the first horror movie I saw, like I said, was the Universal Frankenstein, and I mean, you can see that all over his work. I mean, just the lighting.
And that's one of the books in the MIGNOLAVERSE now is Frankenstein.
Yeah,
he's writing and working on Frankenstein now.
Yeah,
nice.
That's awesome that he brought that back.
Speaking of which, have you seen the scenes from Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein?
Mm-hmm.
There's a couple of shots.
Staying away. Staying
Oscar,
away.
What's that?
I'm staying away. I don't want to be.
Oh yeah.
The first trailer comes. I
don't mind seeing a couple of shots, but and I'll watch the teaser. But after that, I'll be done. I don't watch full trailers anymore. But no, Oscar Isaac is playing Dr. Frankenstein.
Yeah,
he looks great.
Yeah, I know all about it.
I'm super excited.
I'm all about it, but I'm trying to stay away until the official trailer comes out. Then I'll believe everything I see.
Fair enough.
There's too much AI and BS going on out there nowadays.
Oh yeah.
It's hard to tell what's real and what's not. So I just wait until the official word comes out and then go.
Oh no, all these are all from Del Toro.
I'm sure they were, but that's also part of the spoiler thing.
Yeah.
I think that's all we had. I think it was good show, guys. Good job.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm always down to talk about Mignola.
Yeah.
They need to do a documentary like that about Arthur Adams.
I agree. That's the next person. Yeah, because that's
who?
Arthur Adams.
Arthur Adams.
Oh
yeah. Because that's the other side of the coin.
Complete other side of the coin. But for sure.
That's the B-side.
So influential on so many dudes about our age, artists our age.
I mean, that's the reason I wanted to draw comics. I saw the X-Men annual number 10, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is how all comic books should look.
That Asgardian saga, one he did, is that the one?
Yeah.
That thing is just, it's like a lightning bolt.
We may be here reviewing movies and TV shows a lot of the time, but you got to remember we are comic book geeks at heart.
Yeah.
And together we do make comic books.
Yeah. I mean,
you may not see them that often.
Occasionally.
We do work on the occasional comic book around here at the company. And so when it comes to this kind of stuff, it's a lot more fun than you might think it would be, because we're all just dorks at heart.
Yeah.
And find that this is the stuff that unites us. This is the stuff we love talking about and why we started the company and the podcast to begin with. Give ourselves a home in our old age until somebody shanks you.
Always waiting for it to happen,
around every corner.
Wear prison armor every day, man. Every day. So there you have it, everybody. That wraps us up for the PanelCast, episode 251. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. If you haven't had a chance yet and you really are curious, go check out episode 250, special episode that my wife and I got to do a couple nights ago. We went out and saw Harry Potter and the Cursed Child at the Fantasia Theater. We did a review of it, put it up on the website a couple days ago. Go check it out. Short, sweet, lots of fun. Our anniversary present to each other. Just proving that even though J.K. Rowling is, you don't have to be a supporter of her to appreciate her work and the work and of the artist and the talent of the people that were putting on the show, which is why we went. And it was great.
Nowadays, you just have to learn to separate the art from the artist.
That's right.
Yeah. I mean,
there's too much great because there might be one or two people that are shitty that were involved with it, but there's a lot of other people that worked hard on it, and
and
you can't like shut out all those people that worked hard on stuff just because one person's an idiot. But yeah,
right, which is why Richard isn't here anymore.
Wow.
Guys.
Just kidding.
Wherever you are, just kidding.
Oh, that's another stabbing pain in my back. Oh, what is that?
we weren't in on that one, Richard. That was all.
That's easy improv.
Don't go and like excommunicating yourself.
That was more improv
and. Want to remind everybody we are everywhere that social media is. You saw me playing the video game. 515 Labs is the name on Twitch and also on Discuss. Forbidden Panels also on Discuss. We have nothing to discuss, but if you want to go on there and discuss something, we're on Discuss. It's disgusting. But we are everywhere. Just look up Forbidden Panel. You'll find us wherever you search for us and stuff. Thank you everybody for Justin and Joey for being here tonight.
Of course, that was fun.
Yeah, it's good.
Anytime we have a good episode like this, it's just fun.
Yeah. This was an easy thing to talk about.
Yeah.
I want to remind everybody
unlike sports.
Huh?
Unlike sports.
Well, you've got a month to study up on sports because that's when the next episode comes out. So. I want to remind also March 15th, we have our next live draw for everybody that's tuning in.
Yeah.
All the advertisement, everything will be going up for it soon. The name for it, the title, we haven't figured it out yet, but everything should hopefully be going out this week, Joey, maybe. No pressure.
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
But keep the date open. We'll be doing a St. Patrick's Day celebration.
If you want to join us and draw, you're welcome to. If you just want to hit us up and talk about whatever we're talking about.
We'll have the chat room open, live and going. We'll have multiple cameras going so you can see not only the artists, but the art that they're working on. And we'll also be fairly drunk.
I may or may not have 2 or 5 Guinnesses. So we'll see.
Right. Joey might be upside down. Who knows? It's crazy. It's St. Patrick's Day. Anything can happen. All right, everyone. Yeah. Until the next time, we'll see you later.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.